Super Build X here. Today I'm going to be showing you how to melt a silver coin that you might be able to find at any old pawn shop or your old coin collection. We're going to be melting that in a ceramic crucible. This is available on Amazon, this kit. I'll go ahead and put the link in my description. We're going to be melting it using this torch. You might be able to get it with a propane torch, but I'm just going to end up using this because it's much more powerful, this MAP gas. So I will be melting the silver coin, putting it in the crucible. We're then going to be pouring it into our ignite mold. This is going to make a bar that we can then take the bar, put it through the press here, and make some beautiful wires, whatever length, size we want. We could even make flat pieces. It gives us a lot of options to work with when making jewelry. So with that, let's get started. Okay. So first thing first, we're going to get some borax. We want to kind of dust the end of the crucible, just so when we pour it, it has that glass and it comes out real nice and smooth there. I'll put a little bit more. There we go. Okay. I'm going to go ahead and heat up until I get a nice glassy texture. I'm just going to heat it up enough to get a nice glassy texture. Okay, that should be good. Next thing, I'm going to add the coin that I'm going to melt to the crucible. I'm going to sprinkle some borax on it. Okay, it should be good. I'm trying to get this more centered here. Okay, go ahead and put my leather gloves on just in case I happen to touch anything that is hot, so it doesn't burn me. Okay. And now we are ready to roll. Help the borax melt a little bit. Okay, there we go. It's starting to melt. Kind of glazing over it. A while, but that's a general concept of it. So if you see right here, we have some, not the perfect looking bars, but it's one longer piece that I could then use the press to pump out a wire with. So I'm going to go ahead and let this cool. Let's see the back side of this one here. Alright, now there's a few things we have to do from this step. Now that we have our melted silver ignet, we have to run it through a wire press. This is going to compress the metal. Depending on the size of your ignet, you might have to use different settings on it. But generally when you start, you want to start by just kind of flattening it out and then squishing it down into kind of a square shape. And then you'll start running it through these down here. So this is the other one. This is one I've already done. So I basically took this piece, ran it through this, squished it down into a square little tube, kind of like this. And then once you have this little square tube, what you'll do is you'll just keep working it, and basically it will, and sometimes what helps is if you file the edge. That way it kind of helps it feed in a little better. And then you're going to have to kind of play with it until you can get it, like I just got this one right here. So to do that, and basically what you're trying to do is you're trying to form this metal into something similar to this. This wasn't a perfect pour, obviously for this piece, but I can still work with it. If it's a really bad pour, just melt it and do it again. So now that I've had a little square piece here from my previous ignet, I will then start placing it through this right here. And what this is it's kind of like a square shape. So when you push it through the press, it turns it into like a more of a square shape. So you can see that one's a little loose. Okay, go ahead and tighten that up. And the idea with the square shape, there are circle pieces. Like on this side, I have a circular type. And that will make it more into like a circular wire. But the problem you get with that is that sometimes when the wire compresses, the edges will kind of crimp down and it'll kind of push out from the sides. So the reason it's a square like this is you have to just keep kind of working it. Like this one's good, so just keep cranking it. Okay, and there's a little bit bigger, and I'm almost as far as I can go with this one here. I think I can get one more good spin out of it. And I'll show you what I mean by if you don't use a draw plate, which this is, I'll show you in a minute, you'll get this kind of fan-like effect. And what happens when you run that through the draw plate is it will just jam it up. So you really want to just make sure it's kind of a perfect square going through the press like this. And once again, sometimes you're going to have to file the tip down so that it will go through smoother. So I've already increased the size of that a little bit. So what I'll do next is run it through one more time here. See if I can get it to not fan. Okay, there we go, that's pretty good. And then I'm going to go to the next one. And then I'll go to the next one. A little loose. There we go. Go back again. There we go. Now, sometimes your metal is going to get stiff, as silver does when you work with it, hammer it, bend it. So what you're going to have to do is anneal it, and that's basically just heating it up to like a glowing red hot, and then dipping it in some water, and then it's going to make it real flexible, and it's going to help you with this press. It's going to help it form better and be easier to manipulate. But yeah, you just kind of want to do that as you're going. I'll probably end up doing it here in a few minutes. So just keep tightening it and running it through until you have a pretty nice piece that will be in that. You want that perfect square shape, and annealing it will help it. So I'm going to go ahead and stop there for this video with that, but I'll show you how to use this draw plate. So what you'll do is you buy this draw plate, which there's a link in the description too on Amazon. Once you have a diameter small enough to fit through the largest hole on your draw plate, you go ahead and run it through the back. Now the back has like this funnel type shape. So you'll just kind of run it through there, and it will pull the wire out. And what you'll be left with, if you keep going down, and during this process you're going to want to make sure you anneal it as you're going down the levels. But if you have that square shape, what it'll do is it will push this and kind of compress it into a nice circle. And you can use some oil, motor oil, or there's wax for this, and it'll help to lubricate it as you pull it. But what I do is I just put it in a vice grip, hold it with the vice grip, string it through, grab some pliers, and then yank it. And then I'll just keep yanking it, yanking it, yanking it, and then I'll mill it. And then I'll put it back in, kind of sand the tip so it can go through easily. The first part of it, try to have enough grip to pull it with the pliers, and then I'll keep pulling it through, and then eventually what you'll be left with is similar. You can go to whatever size you want, but this is just an old wire that I had made and cut off. But depending on the piece of jewelry you're using, you can turn it into whatever size you want, shape, if you want to go this far. Now I've made some cool stuff with just the press too, taking it down to size and then forming it. That's another option you can do. But if you want to make wire, like legit wire, you're going to need a draw plate. But if you want to make some cool bracelets and thicker stuff and some different shapes and stuff, maybe not a perfect circular shape to it, you can use a wire press. So I hope this helps you. Check out my next video for how I make jewelry and other stuff. Hit the like and subscribe button, and I appreciate your time, and you have a great day.